People of Reddit, what is the dumbest thing you've seen someone do at a party? Was it a party and someone's crappy old truck got stuck in some mud, so instead of sobering up and coming back the next day, he makes a Molotov cocktail with gas and throws it at the truck. The truck caught fire and was completely destroyed. Yee, that guy is hardcore as frick. One of my best friends confided in me that the reason she has back problems, at age 21, is because a party she was at in high school was raided by the cops. She was drinking underage and high, so in her confused state she decided that the best course of action was to jump out a window. On the second floor, above a parked car, she landed on her back on the roof of the car hard enough to leave a dent and then ran off. She was actually lucky failing on a parked car. Imagine her landing on concrete. Ouch. A rather drunken gentleman at a party my freshman year of college tried to open a non-twist off bottle cap with his teeth and ended up basically destroying 2 of his molars. On a separate occasion a few years later, I saw someone try this with their eye socket and they cut their eyelid pretty bad. A lot of blood. Crap on somebody. I was at a party in college and one guy was passed out in a chair. Intoxicated guy decides to fart in his face, pants down, bends over, gets close and lets it rip. Only it wasn't just a fart. Perhaps the mass consumption of Bud Light had loosened his balls, but B sprayed crap on the passed out guy's face. He woke right up screaming and throwing punches. I hope he landed one of those punches on the party pooper. This girl came flying down some stairs trying to shotgun a beer using a plastic knife. Then she threw the unopened beer across the room while simultaneously passing out. It was her birthday so no one minded except the guy who got hit in the head with a full beer. This visual is fantastic. Awesome. You know those cheap $1 plastic lighters that you can remove the safety from and turn into mini flamethrowers? A stone dude spent a few minutes tweaking one so it made a 4-inch flame. Forgot he rigged it, then used it to light a bowl. Burnt his eyelashes and eyebrow clean off his face. The house smelled like burnt hair for hours. I find this unreasonably hilarious. Kids at my school lined the second floor of their frat with painter's plastic. Then they opened all the windows and let the faucets and showers run onto the floor. They made this amazing ice skating rink with obstacles like couches to skate around and sit on. It was really cool until the next morning until the house started to make horrible creaking sounds. Everyone got out and a few hours later the second floor collapsed through the first floor into the basement. The party was sick. Frat lost its charter. I never found my skates. At least everyone got out safe. Was there that one guy who was on vacation, got back and just went what the frick? We had a lot of people over for the Super Bowl. Some of my friends invited a few of their friends, who I didn't know, but I was still cool with it. Later on in the night as we're all drinking, and I step outside for a smoke with my friend, and return a few minutes later. This guy, total stranger to me, had raided my fridge and prepared snacks for everyone. Not that anyone had asked him for food, and I had already provided football snacks. No, he lined up a buffet of several bowls of cereal, sandwiches, microwaved my leftovers, and was fixing a dozen or more plates by unwrapping granola bars, cookies, literally everything that didn't require the stove, opening yogurts and spooning them into a bowl with a serving spoon. Used all my lunch meats and cheeses on the sandwiches. He called us all into my kitchen. Very proud. I fixed dinner for everyone. Grab whatever you want. I didn't know what the frick to do. I didn't want to make a scene and this drunk guy was just trying to be nice. Everyone happily grabbed plates. Many people wasted extras. I took him aside and tried to keep cool as I asked him, what the frick? He didn't understand why I was upset and thought I was being a dong when I asked him to help clean the dishes. TLDR. I left my party for a few minutes and find a guest gave away all of the food in my pantry. Are you a hobbit? One guy at a house party I was at got super drunk and kept sliding down the stairs head first. He looked like he was having fun, though. He'd climb up to the top and would jump down, Superman style over and over again. I would probably join him. A friend of mine was using his teeth to open his beer bottles. He kept doing it through the night, and he was getting drunker each time. He eventually ended up biting the neck off the bottle because he couldn't get the cap and cut the inside of his mouth on the glass. Holy crap, he must have had a freaking strong jaw to bite through glass. Watched my housemate through the window slice a lemon with the blade side up. His hand was on top to push down and cut the lemon. Oh god, that made me cringe so hard. Back in high school, a buddy of mine threw a party while his parents were out of town. A mutual friend of ours was sitting at the table, not looking too hot. He stood up, stumbled across the room to the brand new white couch, lifted two of the cushions up like saloon doors, and projectile vomited into the fold-out bed underneath. When he finished, he put the cushions back in place, stumbled back across the room, and sat down at the table again as if nothing had happened. Saw a guy on spring break decide to jump off the balcony at the hotel into the pool below. At the time it seemed like it was pretty cool, but he belly flopped into the water and had a bad bruise the next day. He's lucky the room was near the deep end of the pool also. He's lucky he's not dead. We were doing long division on this dude's living room wall. Some kid was trying to divide 246 by 41. Ended up with 8. Frickin' moron. Please tell me you were using crayons to do this. I DJ'd a college Halloween party. By midnight, a bunch of locals had come in off of the street. It was obvious who was a student and who was a local. The newcomers were there to rage, and before too long the dance floor was out of control. I tried to control things by reining in the energy level with slower songs, but the crowd would literally explode in anger every time I played anything but club rap. Now, you are probably asking yourself, why did this guy not want a high energy dance floor? Isn't that his job? Just keep in mind that drinks were being spilled. Less aggressive people were getting pushed off the floor, and the level of testosterone in the room made fights an inevitability. When you have thousands of dollars of gear in a small room with 100 drunk, sweaty randos, safety concerns start to become important. I wasn't surprised when the fight started, but I was surprised by who it involved and what it was about. A clearing opened in the middle of the floor as a large, local man screamed at a smaller, female student that had apparently stepped on his shoe. Don't think I won't frick you up, cuz you be. Immediately I moved to intervene before realizing how much equipment I would have to replace if the guy had friends nearby. Luckily for everyone, someone came to intervene almost immediately. It was a costume party and our intrepid hero was wearing nothing but a fig leaf. In the midst of the angry man's insane tirade, the fig-wearing fellow stepped between the man and the woman and proceeded to gyrate suggestively, basically grinding on the other guy in the most exaggerated homoerotic manner imaginable. Neither man said a word, where before he had been ready to fight at the drop of a hat, the man abruptly turned tail and left the party, clearly embarrassed and confused. Be at high school Halloween party for some random rich popular girl. Easily over 100 kids there in huge backyard. Saw this guy pouring an extensive amount of glitter in an empty 3-liter soda bottle, literally half full of glitter. He then tosses a string over the highest tree branch he can near the middle of the yard. Next he grabs a few pieces of dry ice, pokes them in the bottle, caps it, and then pulls it up into the tree above the party. Only a handful of people notice him doing this. After he ties off the string to the fence post, he walks past me and says, "Now would be a good time to go inside." So we walk inside the house and watch through the sliding glass door. Then it happens. Boom. Bottle explodes and makes the most beautiful glitter snow you've ever seen. Everything and everyone in the backyard now infected with the herpes of craft supplies. Dude, I wanna do this now. A drunk guy I knew was going to show off how to do a cartwheel and a backflip indoors at a party. Now, sure, there might have been enough space in the room to do this backflip. In his drunken mind, see, what he hadn't considered, being significantly alcohol impaired, was that the space he had calculated would be enough to jump in after running out of the hallway was bisected by a glass sliding door which he likely didn't see in his drunken stupor. Never mind that the room was rather crowded, because I guess he figured people would just stand aside like the crowd moving away from the main characters in a movie dance scene. So, with the environment described, you can guess how this went. Mr. Smarter when drunk proceeds to do his cartwheel, then starts on his backflip, slamming right into the window, ends up on the patio, aghast, and oddly quiet. Then the regular routine of OMG call the ambulance, OMG he's in pain, OMG keep him from touching the glass, OMG here's the ambulance, OMG, did you see that led to the party ending prematurely? He was alright, though. Lots of cuts, lots of stitches, but alive and intact. TL. DR. Drunk acrobat backflips through space and time. Great TL. DR. Some guy doing 360 no scope vomits. He would spin and vomit, then down some more beer and repeat. This was actually hilarious and disgusting at the same time. I was at a show, that's kind of like a party, right? And guy I know had taken too much acid and had taken it upon himself to try to get on stage. So he climbed up a giddy wire like a monkey, and when security told him to get down, rather than letting go and falling to the ground, he kept holding onto the wire and slid down to the bottom. Bye flesh. You could see the bones in his palms. Oh man, that's a bad one. Drugs and anything sharp usually don't mix well in my experience. I was at a party while I was in college and saw a midget girl try to dance up on a guy from behind to complete a girl-boy-girl grind sandwich. Not that I'm against into-height dancing or anything, but the guy dancing didn't have a clue she was back there. Anyways, the guy trips and timbers backwards. The poor girl put her hands up to try and catch him. It was like how, spoiler, Cheryl Theron dies in Prometheus. Upvote for the visual. Jake. Frickin' Jake, man. That's what we'll call him. Anyway, edit. A lot of people are getting a bad picture of Jake, picturing him as a stifler or bro-like guy. I want to make it clear that he was no Brozer the clown, no matter how much he acted like it. He was a short, kinda skinny guy. You'd almost call him punk rock, but not quite. He had a dark curly little mohawk with dark hair on the sides. He was just a spunky little dude. Okay, moving on. Jake got someone to spray him in the eyes with Axe body spray. He was just drunk and wanted to know what it felt like. Bunch of people said frick no until one girl agreed. She did a quick spray. He says AAAAHH. No, more. Do it more, she yells okay. Frick SHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHHAnother party we were at, Jake was wasted and went outside to smoke a cigarette. Right when we're thinking man he's been out there for a while, Jake comes back into the party. Naked. Well, not quite naked. He had ripped the Christmas lights off somewhere, I don't know where, and wrapped them around himself. While wearing that and the Santa hat he had been wearing all night, he proceeded to run around yelling HOHOHOM hoo until someone got him to stop. Another time, we were at a party at his house, and Jake throws a sword across the room. In a party full of people, the craziest part, besides the fact that no one got impaled, was that it actually freaking stuck into a case of PBR that was sitting on the floor in the middle of the room. The whole room just stops, stares in awe, then watches as beer just KSHHHHHHHHHH squirts everywhere. Ugh, that guy is nuts. I have some more stories about him if you guys want. More. There was the dude who took a few too many drugs, took a carton of orange juice out of the fridge and just freaking stomped it. Glad it wasn't my house. I don't relish the thought of cleaning odge off the ceiling. When I was in college I had a massive Halloween party. This kid was peeing on a grassy patch at the end of my driveway when he started swaying. He ended up falling backwards and landing on his back while still peeing. This guy was peeing all over himself, but he was so s-face drunk he was like a turtle stuck on its back. He was peeing on himself for probably 10 seconds until he figured out he could just roll to the side. Safe to say he left shortly after that. Flaming shots of alcohol are almost never a good idea. Sure, it looks cool and if done properly you won't harm yourself, but you're 7 drinks in already and you no longer understand how to do things properly. Stay away from fire. There was this one fat drunk guy making out with a girl at this after party for an performance celebration. Anyways, he gets increasingly drunk and slobbery, so she gets up and leaves. Guy starts randomly calling for Moabi, calls the original girl by name but pulls some random who proceeds to slap him. He starts crying right there, and when people ask him what's wrong, he says he's only trying to drink his tears of alcohol. In college, a group of friends and I went to this house to party, owned by the sister of someone in the group. The house was locked. But no biggie, we just partied in the backyard. Pretty soon my friend Elle had to go to the bathroom, but we couldn't go inside. Somebody told her to go pee behind the bushes. Well, she went behind the bushes, but she was too drunk to balance. Instead of leaning against a tree or a bush, she decides to pull her pants to her ankles, lay completely flat, and let it go. She was on perfectly flat ground and got her own pee from the middle of her back to below her knees. Try to shoot a bottle rocket out of his butt at a 4th of July party. He clenched, and his balls got showered with hot sparks while the rocket went nowhere. After a whistling hellishly, the rocket exploded only inches from his taint. Fun fact, that person was me. Hey man, freedom taint free. Friend of mine opened a beer bottle with his teeth, and it chipped some glass into the beer, so he poured the beer through his fingers into a cup to filter the glass out obviously, and it was a twist off anyway. Classy dude that guy. Watched someone at a party crawl to the bathroom after doing 7+ shots of vodka. They were shouting fuss rodo on each of their steps and then eventually they crap themselves on the dirt. Fuss rah. I saw someone snort a shot of vodka then spray Pine Sol in their mouth. It was all fun and games until he started projectile vomiting, the cleanest vomit I have ever smelled. Watched a kid we thought who was 17 chug a large bottle of Nikolai vodka straight to his head. We were cheering until someone asked why the 13-year-old was chugging a bottle of cheap vodka. Yee, we felt bad. I once provided a blunt for a group of people at a party. One of the kids looked young but I was assured everyone there was cool. Turns out he was 12. I was not thrilled. I went to a college that is surrounded by an Amish community. Had a fraternity brother that was completely wasted leave a party, gets in his car and drive off. He only got down the road a couple of miles and crashed his car into a freaking horse. Horse was euthanized. Car was totaled. The guy had a bunch of cuts, bruises and was covered head to waist with horse blood. Terribly bad situation. Frick drunk drivers. There is no reason to do such a stupid thing. A friend of mine was really drunk at this one party, so he sat down on the couch. He started feeling a bit sick and ended up throwing up a bit in his solo cup and just sat there holding it in his hands. After about a minute he looked around the room, lifted his cup, and was about to drink out of it. Luckily my other friend, who doesn't drink, stopped him before he did and then drove him home right afterwards. This was back in college, my freshman year. It was the first or second weekend, so my random roommate and I were walking from house party to house party. We get to a house and some guys are playing quarters around the kitchen counter. There's a bottle of Bacardi 151 between them. Some girls are watching them play. One guy decides he's going to impress the girls by taking a flaming shot. He pours the Bacardi 151 into the shot glass, lights it with a match, and then takes it like a champ, the blue flame disappearing inside his mouth. The girls cheer. Now another guy wants to take a flaming shot. He pours the 151 into the shot glass, lights it on fire, and then brings it to his lips. I'm not sure if the heat startled him or what happened, but the guy sort of hesitates and then splashes the shot onto his face, which erupts into flames. The other guys start dumping beer on him and the smell is just terrible. His friends took him to the hospital. I remember seeing him around campus a few weeks later with his face all scarred up from the 2nd-degree burns. TLDR. Guy sets his face on fire trying to impress girls by taking a flaming shot. A friend of mine did not blow out a flaming shot before trying to take it. Well, he missed his mouth and it went all over his face. He had very bad burns and it required surgery. When it was all said and done and his skin grafts were healed, he was actually better looking, haha. Put a bowl over someone's head and then hitting him with a baseball bat, you know, like a pinata, but no candy came out. This dude was throwing up, so we told him to go to the bathroom. He sits on the toilet and proceeds to throw up on himself. At a prom after party, people decided it was a great idea to put fully inflated car tires on the bonfire. That was gross. Some butthole convinced this guy that the powdered sugar in the cabinet was C. After he snorted a bunch, we told him, but he kept on doing it because he likes sweets. That reminds me of the time my poker mates gave a newbie to the group a green tea spliff. The smell was awful. My friend walked on hot wood from the bonfire barefoot, and another guy did it with socks. Needless to say, he destroyed his socks. Seems like good drunk logic. The extra padding from the socks will keep me safe from the heat. There were some people who were crowded around a microwave drumming their hands on the countertop while keep a steady on. Then there was a loud pop and they all cheered. Then they opened the microwave door and put more eggs in. Me friend and I went to this kid's grad party a few years ago, and he got so drunk high he thought the air vent by the window was the toilet, but he missed, so he just peed all over the curtains. When I was in the army, the barracks were pretty much a constant party when we were off for a weekend. We had this one guy who was underage, but always liked to have a 12-pack of Busch Lights in him by noon. In no way could he hold his beer, so he was always just walking around in a drunken stupor. Most of us kept our doors open and people went from room to hang out, play PlayStation or watch TV with various friends in the battery. And this douchebag walks into a guy's room, pisses into the duffel bag that's standing in the corner, and proceeds to get his butt beat for thinking that he was in the latrine. My friend was so drunk and was taking a crap, there was no more toilet paper, so he used his white tee. We were all wondering why he was walking out the front door shirtless. He threw his shirt over the fence into a creek. I saw a kid take too much acid at a party. He took a crap in the sink, then started beating off in the living room until someone kicked him out. Feels good, man. I went to Uri, which is a huge party school. I witnessed one kid get ballsy and bet that he could jump off the roof of the house into a bush near the freaking end of the driveway. Of course, with the alcohol, everyone drunkenly called him out about not being able to do it, and so he tried it. A broken arm and leg later, he never drank that much again in the time that I've seen him. Drink way too much, get high on amphetamines, and then make out with a bunch of random dudes. Oh wait, that was me. Frick my life. The title is dumbest, not most fun. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.